Welcome, everybody, to another glorious episode of the Put On Waivers podcast. I'm your host, Dwayne Douglas, podcasting off the beautiful shores of the Pacific Ocean. Beautiful day out here in Southern California. We're going to do a little Put On Waivers NFL show right now with myself and Ryan Holmes. Ryan, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. Looking forward to super wild card weekend, I guess is what we're calling it now.
Whatever that is now. Our TPOW podcast is my Twitter handle, and Ryan's is RHOLM22 is his on Twitter. So those really cool breakdowns. Some of those breakdowns have 6.5 million views total. I guess. I mean, you got some ones on there that are really you do a good job. You do a good job with them, but they do have a lot of views on them. So definitely you can learn some stuff and just kind of get some more in-depth parts about what the Raiders are trying to do offensively and defensively, the good and the bad. Ryan shows where they can improve and where they're doing really well as well. Thank you for listening and watching in Los Angeles, California, Riverside, California, Las Vegas, Nevada, Boise, Idaho, and West Virginia. Let's see what else we got here. Ryan can also be heard on the full press Raiders podcast. And I was able to go on the Bengals Central podcast today, talk a little Bengals. So check that out. That'll be in the bio, in the link below. I'll put that link in below so you can click on that too. So you can get ready for the Raiders and Bengals, two teams who are dying to get to the playoffs, and now they're in there against each other. So we'll see what happens there as far as that goes. So we started off with the NFL side right now. Let's talk about these coaching vacancies, and let me know if I missed one, Ryan, because it seems like there's a lot. Potentially the Raiders, you got the Bears, you got the Giants, the Dolphins, surprisingly, but the Dolphins there, Vikings, Broncos, Jags, and Texans. So let's start with the Texans. We, listen, we talked about it jokingly before, but not a bad deal for David Culley, huh?
No, 1 year, $22 million. So good for him to get the bag while he could.
No question about it. Wide receiver coach now, head coach. I don't know. You look like a Patriot guy would probably get that, with a big Patriot influence there. With Houston could be Jared Mayo. It sounds like that. If the Patriots don't lose this week, you might see him jump in to that spot there. You have that also. And I think the hot name is, Flores out of Miami now, because I think people were surprised that that the Dolphins let him go. But what are your thoughts about the Texans here as far as what direction? Patriot direction?
I would think the roster's not good here, so it's hard for me to think Brian Flores is going to jump at the Texans job. I'm sure he'd wait for some other opportunities, Chicago, possibly Las Vegas, depending on what happens with Harbaugh. I'd have a hard time, like I said, thinking he's just going to jump back in. He's probably still getting paid by the Dolphins. I don't think his contract was up. So usually these guys get a second chance. They don't get third chances. So I think Brian Flores can be pretty selective here. This has I don't even think Josh McDaniels, I saw his name. I don't think this is a job he would take. They don't have any offensive foundation on this team. So if it's Jared Mayo, maybe, first-time coordinator coming over, he's a coordinator coming over, first-time head coach, the connection with Nick Casario. I think it's going to be something along that. I think you're looking at a first-time head coach here, because this is not a team that's going to win anytime soon. This is a full 5-year rebuild. So I would circle Jared Mayo out of those three Patriot guys that are being connected to this job.
Speaking of more Patriot guys, looks like Bill O'Brien he interviewed or going to interview for the Jags job right now, offensive coordinator for the second best team in college football, the Alabama Crimson Tide. They lost to Georgia. Congrats to Georgia and their quarterback who's 5'7". But congrats anyway. He has a good story. Walking on and making that team a champion, helping that team to be a champion. But for the Jags, I mean, it got to be a play caller, right? It got to be a guy who can whisper in the quarterback's ears and hopefully get some really good things out of him. I'm not sure if was the relationship really good between Deshaun Watson and Bill O'Brien, or was it more Deshaun Watson versus the upper management?
I think it was both. I think he had an issue with both Bill O'Brien and the management. I think when we spin forward to Jacksonville, Bill O'Brien, from all reports, is who Trent Baalke wants. I don't know how long he's going to be there. He's clearly affecting the search there. I still fully expect Byron Leftwich to get that job when the dust settles here. It's the natural connection. He was a quarterback there. He's down the street in Tampa. and the leadership that he had as a player on the field. We've broken him down on this podcast, but I think that he's going to end up getting that job.
Yeah. But in Jacksonville, we're hearing that people Bulky's going to hire a guy who actually wants to work with him or will work with him, because people don't want to work with Balky, the other candidates, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's the rumor on the street. He hasn't had a good relationship with coaches anywhere he's been. But there are reports that maybe, Shad Khan decides to pull the plug on Balky if it really is affecting the interview or the candidates that would be willing to take the job. Interviewing and be willing to take it are two different things.
Yeah. The Broncos here, they let go of Fangio, and Fangio could be going somewhere else in the AFC West, but we kind of course, crossed our fingers for that one. But not as a head coach, though. I'm not sure where they're going with this one. I've heard a bunch of different names. I think just trying to kind of feel it out. They must have I think they seem like an organization. They're also for sale as well. So they're also for sale. So we have that, but I think the GM is in place. And from what I've seen and heard, that he's in full control of like that search. Elway's kind of to the back burner now. And he's going to go ahead and make those moves for the Broncos and see who they end up being, who their next head coach is going to be. I hope they can find I don't hope they can find a way, but they better hope they find a way to a quarterback with that head coach as well.
Yeah, all indications here are Dan Quinn's the leader in the clubhouse. He has a working relationship with the GM, George Patton. They came over from the Vikings. They worked together with the Dolphins. I could see a defensive coach jumping at this job just because the talent that Denver has on the defensive side. It'd be hard for me to think, one of these young offensive minds is going to jump in there with Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock with no path to, an upgrade at the quarterback position. So I think, they're going to keep the defensive side here. I think Elway thinks that he, along with whoever the offense coordinator is, can try to get the offense right. But look for Dan Quinn to be the leader in the clubhouse in Denver from all reports.
Vikings, weird team here because they look like they're ready to win now. They're kind of, their defense is built for a Zimmer scheme. So you have that issue. And then you have the issue of he's a competent quarterback. He can make some plays, but how do you feel about Kirk Cousins? And we know, Kyle Shanahan loves Kirk Cousins, but who else loves Kirk Cousins? He's good. He's not, I think he's a little bit above average, but I'm not sure if he's like a top-notch NFL quarterback.
Now, this one's interesting because they have to hire a GM first because he also let Rick Spielman go. I have a sneaky suspicion they're going to go the offensive side of the ball with some of the weapons they have. I think this is the landing spot for Kellen Moore, honestly. I think Kellen Moore goes up there. He tries to work it for a year with Kirk Cousins. If it doesn't work out, then maybe they move on at the quarterback position after next year. He's got a $45 million cap hit, so he's not going anywhere this year. And then, obviously you have Justin Jefferson, you got Dalvin Cook, you got some nice pieces there on the offensive side of the ball.
Thielen is really good.
For some reason, I just have a feeling that Kellen Moore is the guy that's going to end up in Minnesota.
Dolphins. Don't know what I'm not sure how much going on there as far as that goes. Anything you hear about the Dolphins? Read about the Dolphins?
I kind of think Brian Dable, this is his landing spot if he gets a job in this hiring period. Being in the AFC East, he's gone up against the Dolphins. The ownership group there knows him pretty well from having to play him twice a year. I would think that they want to go to the offensive side because that's where the problem is on this team. I think the defense has played well the last 2 years. They have pieces over there. So I think if you circle a candidate, and I don't have any inside information, but I just have a feeling that's where Brian Dable's going to end up.
Yeah. We're just guesstimating here as far as
just connect the dots.
Connect the dots. Find a relation in the NFL. You find the relationships. You might find your team's new head coach. Let's see here. The Giants. Somebody said this the other day, and I kind of concur that the Giants kind of act like they don't fire coaches all the time, but they end up just firing coaches all the time. I think when that moment where he pulled a quarterback sneak from his own 3-yard line,
third and nine
on third down. Yeah, I think I've seen it done on first down. If you're inside the one, just to get a little bit of room. but the next play is usually a normal NFL play. You don't do that on 3rd and 9. But it was Braum at quarterback, so maybe that was shout out to Georgia on that one. Yeah, I just don't know what you do in this situation. If you're the Giants, they don't have a quarterback. They don't have their pieces defensively look okay, but do they just go within? Because I know people like Pat. I know people like Graham. I don't know if you can do that because he was on Judge's staff. But what are your thoughts about the Giants?
Yeah, I think they swing big here. I think they try to pull off a trade for Sean Payton. I don't know if Payton wants to go there, but I think that's the first thing they do. Let's go back to that Bill Parcells tree. Bill Parcells obviously was a legendary coach there with the Giants. Mm-hmm. Payton learned under him. There is a connection there. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head, but if he's willing to want to go into that major market, because he doesn't have a quarterback in New Orleans either. But I don't know if he wants to leave New Orleans, but that's what I think they should do. They have a ton of draft picks. If they had to trade capital, get an established coach in there first and then try to build around it. If not, I think an interior inside the building, as you mentioned, Patrick Graham should be a candidate. This could be – I really think they need to go to the offensive side here if they go outside the building. So, again, Brian Dable, this could be another landing spot him. But it's going to be hard for an offensive coach, unless it's a first-time guy, to really want to jump at this job because they don't really have any pieces on offense, and they're going to have to move on from the quarterback. So the good news is they have 2 first-round picks. So hopefully, they could find a way to get one of the guys in this draft. But there's no surefire thing this year. So I really think this is the spot where you try to see a trade for a coach if they can pull off the Sean Payton deal.
Yeah, on the Put On Raiders podcast, we kind of joke about and say, hey, Derek turns the ball over a lot. Daniel Jones turns the ball over even more so. And I mean, like, really bad. He's a tough watch if you like watching quarterback play. He's really not good as far as that goes. I left the Bears and the Raiders for last. Do you feel like they're fighting over the same coach? Or do you think the Raiders have that kind of thing? Because I think it's all quiet in Ann Arbor. You're not hearing anything about the whole thing with Harbaugh right now. I think everybody has to do their P's and Q's as far as the Rooney Rule goes, whether it's GM or head coach. So the Bears, I think Flores would be perfect for that job. I mean, they have some defensive players on that team. He'd have to show that, he knows who he wants and what direction he wants to have on the offensive side of the ball, because he kind of blew through some offensive coordinators there in Miami. What are your thoughts about the Bears and Raiders, and maybe Harbaugh in play?
Yeah, I think Harbaugh, it's the Raiders, or he's going back to Michigan. I do find it kind of odd. We haven't heard anything this week after,
Silence.
The fire that was lit on Friday. And then all of a sudden radio silenced, which to me means he's probably coming to the Raiders, because if he was going to go back to Michigan, they've had 4 or 5 days to get an extension together. I think he's just waiting for Mark Davis's call at this point and ask Mark what he wants to do. And then at that point, if the Bears job's still open and he really wants to go to the NFL, I could see him pursuing that. I think the Bears job ultimately, one, it's going to depend on who the GM is, but I think it's going to come down to 2 candidates. I think Brian Flores, but I also think Leslie Frazier has a real chance at that job. He played for the '85 Bears. He has a good relationship from all reports with ownership, a strong defensive pedigree. And if they can bring one of their own back in the mix here, and I think he's earned another chance after what happened with the Vikings. So I think either way, the Bears are looking at Flores, Frazier, and maybe a long shot if the Raiders do not make a change, and then Harbaugh really does want to come to the NFL.
And players with you mentioned Leslie Frazier, players really do like Leslie Frazier a lot too. So that's a big part of it as well. Those relationships are big as far as that goes. NFL super duper wild card weekend. So happy that the Raiders didn't get the Nickelodeon game as far as that goes. But Cardinals, Rams. That's the Monday night game now, so you got games all weekend for you. So I'm sure people's, the wives of everybody are going to be going nuts watching football all weekend. But the Rams up and down as far as the quarterback play goes. Stafford has some good days, has some good days, some bad days. We talked about Kyler Murray before as well in this program. It seems like he'd be a guy who throws the ball all over the place and throws it well, but it seems like when you look at the numbers, he he kind of does it sometimes. AJ Green, decent job, basically replacing Hopkins. I'm not sure if Hopkins is going to play in this one. What are your thoughts about the Rams and Cardinals here?
Yeah, I actually like the Cardinals going on the road here. I think, their fans, it's fairly close. It's about a 5.5, 6-hour drive, short 45-minute flight from Phoenix. So I think, they're going to be well represented in the stands. I could see like 60-40, maybe even 50-50 at this game as far as fan bases. So it's not going to be a great home field advantage for the Rams. I think Stafford's kind of been up and down the last couple of weeks. I don't know how the offensive line's holding up there. The running game kind of hit or miss. So it's all on Cooper Kupp at this point and an occasional pass to Higbee or Beckham. So I think the Rams are trending in the wrong direction. And I kind of like – I know Arizona lost last week to Seattle, but I think when you get into these one-game winner-take-all, you're going to see the Kyler Murray running around the field and making plays with his legs. And I wouldn't be surprised if he went off for 80 to 100 yards on the ground in extended drives here and just drove the Rams crazy. I don't think Hopkins plays in this game, but there is a chance that J.J. Watt's going to make a return to this game as well. So I think at the end of the day, I like the ability for Kyler Murray to extend plays and get outside the pocket, and then they can spread the ball around on offense. They don't have to force it to Hopkins, so it doesn't matter where Jalen Ramsey lines up. And I do think the running game here of the Cardinals with James Conner is the key. So if I was betting on this game, I would take the Cardinals and the 4 points all day.
Yeah, and I think we're gonna agree a lot on these playoff games, but I love the Cardinals because when they kind of struggle, Connor's not there. When he's there, like they really pound the football. The guy has lived in the end zone all year this year, so I would definitely watch Connor in this game. And as you saw with the Niners, I mean, it's a copycat league. You can run the ball at the Rams. I mean, it's just clear as day. You can run them, and then when you get behind, it's a whole different conversation. But you can definitely run the ball at the Rams. So I like the Cardinals as well in that game. Probably the game that I have no desire to watch whatsoever is probably the Steelers and Chiefs. Maybe close in the first quarter, but I just feel like after that comes, it's going to be an onslaught here. I think the Chiefs are playing. They have their offense back, the offensive swagger back, and defensively they've made some plays. I love the Chiefs in this game to kind of move on and to the next round. What are your thoughts about the second-seeded Chiefs against the seventh-seeded Steelers?
I think all the pressure's on the Chiefs here. The Steelers are playing with house money at this point. They went to Kansas City and got it handed to them earlier this year. I don't think I don't think Pittsburgh's offense is going to be able to do much in this game. They're going to have to get the running game going with Najee Harris and try to control the clock. Roethlisberger's not going to throw the ball down the field. I think Kansas City's defense matches up really well. I do think this game's closer than the experts think. I don't see a big blowout. I think Kansas City, their offense going up against the Steelers defense, if Tyreek Hill, who was limited again today in practice, if he's not 100%, and they're able to cover Kelsey and TJ Watt coming off the edge and Fitzpatrick in the secondary, this is still a pretty good Steelers defense. I don't think the Chiefs are even going to try to run the ball in this game. It doesn't look like weather's going to be a factor. I think 34 degrees at kickoff, wind's not supposed to be an issue. 12.5 is a lot of points. I think Kansas City wins this game pretty easily, but I could see a backdoor cover here from Roethlisberger late in the game. I'm going to give me the Steelers in the 12.5, but Kansas City's moving on.
Okay. All right. Probably the game that might have the highest rating this weekend, the Cowboys and 49ers. Good game for TV. A lot of big stars in this game. CeeDee Lamb, Deebo Samuel, both could have been Raiders, but these teams are, they have two quarterbacks who have something to prove, and they got to win, and they got to show they can win win a playoff game here. What are your thoughts about the Cowboys and Niners? I'm kind of everybody when everybody leans towards a dog, I kind of want to back away from it. I do respect what the Niners do offensively. I think their secondary is a little bit, not up to par as far as that goes, especially against this Cowboy passing game. That's why I might go Cowboys.
Yeah, this is interesting. The line's only 3. Cowboys -3. I thought it'd be a little bigger than that. San Francisco's going to come in and they're going to try to run the ball 40, 45 times. They're just going to hand the ball off to Deebo Samuel, Mitchell, the young back, maybe Jeff Wilson gets some carries, Hughes check. I don't think I can take Jimmy G on the road against Dak Prescott. I kind of see here where Dallas's defense is going to show up here a little bit and be able to put a little pressure early in this game on Garoppolo to have to make some plays. And I just don't see how they're going to do it against this defense. I think Dak Prescott's going to come out. He's got Amari Cooper. He's got CeeDee Lamb. He's got some tight ends. They got a running game. That front four against San Francisco is playing well. They had their way with the Rams, but I think this offensive line by Dallas is a little bit better than what the Rams run out there. And the secondary for the 49ers still concerns me. So I know this is a spot where everyone wants to see Dallas fail. I think Dallas wins this game, and I think they cover the 3 points.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only, and I'm going to side with you on that one too. I just don't like the secondary. It's going to be hard for me to see them not be able to pass the ball really well in this game. So I'm gonna go Dallas as well. So we'll see what happens as far as that goes. Do the Eagles have any chance to go out there and beat Brady?
Actually, I'm going to give them a chance in this game. I think Tampa Bay's still banged up. They're still banged up in the secondary. They're banged up at wide receiver. Philadelphia's defense has been playing pretty well. They can get after the quarterback. They got some guys along that front, Fletcher Cox, Hargrave inside. Then you got Sweat coming off the edge. So I think there is a chance here. I don't love the Eagles here, but this game's going to be closer than experts think. The weather's not going to be an issue in this game. I think they're not going to try to run the ball, but Jalen Hurts getting outside, running around, making plays with his legs, getting the ball down the field to some of the speed they have at wide receiver with Jalen Reagor, Quaz Watkins, and then Smith, obviously. Devonta Smith is there, and then Dallas Goedert. So there is weapons here that they can take advantage of if they can pass protect.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to be okay. A lot of these defenders on the Bucs that are coming back have been on IR. They just got, I think, 3 or 4 guys back. So I think they hang in early. I think this is a game at halftime, and then Brady's going to make some plays in the second half. But who's he going to throw the ball to in this game? There's no Antonio Brown. There's no Chris Godwin. It's Mike Evans and Rob Gronkowski and a couple of no-name guys. So 8.5 is an interesting number because I want to take Tampa and lay the 8.5, but I just think Philadelphia keeps this game close, but Tampa advances. So I'll take the Eagles and 8.5 points here.
Yeah. Everybody is. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go the Bucs cover that late. I'm gonna go the Bucs. I'm gonna go opposite you. I'm gonna go Bucs cover that one late. The Bills Patriots. Everybody's telling me Bill got something up his sleeve. Everybody's telling me that the Patriots are going to win this game. I just feel like I think the Bills are going to win this game. I think that you play 3 times, the better team's going to win. I think we're trying to have Bill pull magic out of his hat. I truly believe that the best team of the two is the best quarterback. Everything like that is going to be in Buffalo. I think Buffalo wins this game. And I mean, I know the weather can be an issue there, but I still believe that the Bills are going to win this game. And try running that whole run the ball every single time against them. This time, I don't think it's going to work. I think they're going to force Matt Jones in that wind, in that weather up there to put the ball in harm's way. And then they're going to Micah Hyde. Those guys are going to take advantage of that.
Yeah, I like Buffalo here. They're the better team. Top to bottom, the roster. They have the best player. They have the best quarterback. Josh Allen, in his last 4 games against New England, has thrown 1 interception. So he's not turning the ball over a ton against them. I think Josh Allen's legs are huge in this game. And I don't think Mac Jones is going to go on the road and make enough plays against that Buffalo defense because they're not going to be able to run the ball 50 times and throw it 3 or 4 like they did the first time. Whether, the wind's not an issue here. I think when I checked today, his wind gusts up to 12 miles an hour. So that's not going to affect Josh Allen. And the cold's not going to affect him either. I mean, went to Wyoming. Temperature at kickoff's going to be 4 degrees. So there's a chance the wind chill's negative here. So it's going to be freezing. But these are both cold weather teams. Buffalo's going to have to run the ball a little bit. They can't just drop back and try to throw it. So they're going to have to run it to control the clock. But I just think at the end of the day, Buffalo is still upset about what happened when they let the Patriots go in there and beat them. They went to New England and put it on them. later in the season when they played again. And I think we're going to see, something kind of in between that, maybe a touchdown game here, but I'll take Buffalo and I'll lay the 4 points.
Yeah, I agree. I think Buffalo's gonna hand it to them as far as that goes. So that's it for the Put On Waivers NFL show.